Now over to the latest upset between the already tense ties between arch rivals India and Pakistan. Guests invited to an iftar party hosted by the Indian High Commission in Islamabad were reportedly aggressively turned away by Pakistani officials. This happened on Saturday evening. So what exactly is happening between India and Pakistan, and how can the two countries and should the two countries move past these petty diplomatic encounters that we've seen, which seem to have gone awry in the last couple of months. Now, Ambassador Vishnu Prakash, former diplomat, is joining me on the show. Arslan Bhatti, Bureau Chief, Dunia News. He'll be joining me from Lahore in just a few moments. And expert on international affairs, Dr. Sreeram Chaulia, will also be joining. In fact, India has protested and it said this is unprecedented level of harassment. More than 300 guests, included Pakistani guests, were turned away. Dr. Chaulia, now Imran Khan, who almost always now talks about a dialogue, he was also an invitee at this iftar. Could he have not attended this iftar event in, to signal a thaw, to take that first step of which he keeps talking about? But the results, it never shows in Pakistan's action. What comes across is Pakistan being two-faced, the duplicity of Pakistan and the accusations. Remember, this was an iftar event, which was a very, very solemn event. It's not even a party. In comparison, we also spoke about the Indian side of the story, but that was Pakistan National Day. How do you look at these two events and Pakistan and its security agencies' conduct?
Well, Sana, we know that they are quite a spiteful lot. I think they are smarting from the fact that Imran Khan was not invited to Prime Minister Modi's second swearing-in ceremony. And they somehow expected that, after the elections, we will, soften our approach and now restart the dialogue process right away. Imran Khan went to the media saying that. So when they were rebuffed, and again isolated, because there were presence of all the other SAARC countries more or less at the swearing in. I think it showed, right, and it really hurt them. And they are now using these, petty means to try and gain attention, and their strategy, going back, as Ambassador Vishnu Prakash was saying, has always been to do negative things and thereby get our attention, because otherwise we would rather ignore them and move ahead with the bigger powers with whom we have to deal, like China and the US. So I think they are basically saying, look, Modi, you may have won a big election, but we are going to continue being a nuisance to you. And you have to, come back to us somehow or the other. Otherwise, we'll make life hell or miserable for you. And therefore, I know both in Kashmir Valley and also in the form of cross-border terrorism, as well as this kind of harassment of innocent, their own citizens, Pakistani citizens attending a social event, which is actually, right, to commemorate a religious festival. These kind of things, they show that, they are highly politicized and look at India with a lot of suspicion. And in fact, they have been claiming that we are behind the PTM movement, the Pashtun movement that has really rocked the military in the northwest. They've been claiming we are behind the Balochistan liberation struggle and so on. So they have created this, right, entire, bogey,
well, the list of accusations just doesn't
and
stop.
Therefore, from the demonization,
right,
comes this
Ambassador
kind of
Vishnu Prakash, Dr. Chaulia, what happens in this case? What can India do? It's raised this matter from the level of the Indian High Commission in Islamabad. Can it do anything else? Because this amounts to, harassment and embarrassment for the Indian diplomats over there.
Cultivate friends wherever we have embassies and high commissions, and we will be undeterred by this attempted provocation, and we will continue to build our network inside Pakistan. That's the basic tenet of diplomacy. Our mission is not going to be cowed by these cowardly acts of the deep state there. And we will engage with the Pakistani society, different elements of society. Inviting them to these kind of events is a way for us to reach out and to put across our viewpoint and to, build friendships and cooperation with different levels. No country is monolithic. We know who our foes are, but we will also try to, build bridges with whoever is liberal and moderate in that country. So what they want us, the ISI is trying basically is to cut us off from society because they're paranoid and afraid. They are more afraid because Modi ji has won a massive victory in the Indian election and is now coming back resurgent and very strong. The national unity in India has grown over the last few months during the general election, and they wanted a weak Indian government or a coalition formed by disparate group of opposition parties, but instead they got Modi 2.0 and they've got S. Jaishankar to deal with. So we have now a very formidable foreign policy team and outlook on the horizon, and they're unable to digest it. So I think we will go ahead and we will press all the levers and continue what is right and what is legitimate for a diplomatic mission to do.
Okay. Onus is on Pakistan. That's very clear. Dr. Chaulia.
Well, Sana, they have been speculating that PM Modi will meet Imran Khan on the sidelines of, SCO summit or other multilateral, forums. I think we should step warily. They have a notion that this whole nationalism in India was, cooked up for Prime Minister Modi to win the election. But I think Prime Minister Modi is a patriot, and he's going to continue, the line based on national security and promoting our greater interests. I don't think he's going to suddenly now become dovish, as Imran Khan is expecting, and give him any freebies. I think the isolation campaign of Pakistan continues. The this blacklisting of Masood Azhar as a global terrorist has not led to any kind of concrete action yet. That adds to the long list of
In fact, what you're saying
violations.
is right, Dr. Chaulia. Expect national security to continue to remain the focus of this government and expect more thrust on it as well. Thanks so much, Dr. Sreeram Chaulia, Ambassador Prakash and Arslan, for joining me on the show.